Om. 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 Sairam, everyone. Just to recollect what we were studying last week, we are in the 6th chapter of Sathya Sai Vahini. And we read a few paragraphs where Swami is telling us what the Bharatiya culture is longing to teach us. What it longs to teach us is that God is the warp and woof of every atom in this creation. And that we have to learn that. And we are unable to learn that because we call ourselves Alpajnani. We are incapable of knowing, incapable of understanding this, and so on. And so Swami says the entire Sanatana Dharma is striving or longing for us to learn this, that God is the basic building block of this entire creation. That was the gist of what we read last week. Maybe we will read, I don't know, Kalyana, whether we have those excerpts here or not. We'll read that once, and then if not, it's okay, we can continue. I think just to read, even if you're not discussing, it'll be nice. Sorry,
Oh, no problem, Uncle. I have it. It's just at the bottom of the PowerPoint.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Sairam.
Just we'll read it once and then we can continue.
There is another point which we have to understand. We have to hold fast to it always. Unless a belief is held unshaken throughout night and day, it cannot be used to achieve victory. No success is possible otherwise. When a person asserts that he is low and mean and that he knows but little, he becomes low and mean and his knowledge shrinks. We become what we believe we are. We are the children of Almighty God, endowed with supreme power, glory, and wisdom. We are children of immortality. When we dwell in this thought, how can we ever be low and ignorant? Bharatiya spiritual culture enjoins on everyone to believe that the real nature of man is supreme and that he should ever be conscious of this truth. The Bharatiyas of past ages had faith in their great reality. They achieved victory in their endeavors as a result of this faith and rose to lofty heights. They reached the peak of progress. We have slipped down into the present decline mainly because we have lost faith in the Atma in us. This was the beginning of our fall. For loss of confidence in the Atma or self involves loss of faith in God Himself. That omnipresence, that inner motivator of all, who is the warp of woof of our body and mind, our emotions and intellect, strengthening faith in Him is the only means of realizing the highest goal of man. This is the lesson that Bharatiya spiritual history longs to teach.
Thank you, sister. Anyone would like to share any thoughts, please, before we continue? Just to reiterate, I guess, Swami wants us to understand, have the faith in the Atma in us. See, when we say when we say we cannot do something, we should not forget that there's Atma in us. And once we have that confidence that the Atma in us is capable of achieving anything with grace of the Atma, then we will have total faith in God also. So Swami wants us to understand that, when we lose confidence in us, we are forgetting the Atman within us. And Swami says that is the one which Bharatiya spiritual history longs to teach. And it wants us to learn. And so I will stop here. If anyone wants to add something or discuss anything, you can discuss. Otherwise, we will move on. Saiva. I guess it's okay. So then we will move on, sister.
Children of Bharat, teach your children this life-preserving, glorious, and heart-expanding truth from the early days of life. The sanctifying vision that Bharatiyas secured is this: the Atma is full and free. It is a wonderful discovery, a thrilling thought. The Atma is by its very nature full. Fullness need not be attained or accomplished and added to it. If fullness is added to it, it can also be subtracted by the passage of time. What is the build-up must disintegrate. If man is impure by nature, even though he may succeed in achieving purity for 5 minutes, he has to wallow later in impurity, for the purity that comes in the middle will be easily swept away by circumstances. So all Bharatiya spiritual thinkers declare that purity is our very nature and that fullness is our genuine reality. They said that we are never really wanting. This was the lesson that Bharatiyas taught the world. This is the stream of spiritual strength that flowed from India and fertilized the world. At the end of life, one should bring to the consciousness the great thoughts one has attained in life, the high feelings one entertained. This was the directive of the sages of India. They did not demand that one should bring to memory the faults and errors one committed in life. These are inevitable and universal. But the sages declare that one should be aware always of one's reality, and one should be engaged ever in contemplating its grandeur and glory. That, they said, is the greatest step to progress.
Thank you, sister. Auntie, maybe we'll read the Telugu.
Okay. Saira. Bharatiya Putrulara.
Children of Bharat.
ఈ జీవ సంరక్షణమును మహితమును ఔదార్యప్రదమును అగు సత్యమును మీ బిడ్డలకు పుట్టినప్పటి నుంచి నుండి నేర్పుడు.
O Bharatiyas, this truth which protects the living beings, which is supreme, and Audarya
ఔదార్యం అంటే ఇది expanding.
Okay,
Ever expanding.
Ever expanding truth has to be taught to your children from the time of their birth.
ఆత్మ పరిపూర్ణమైనది అను ఈ అద్భుత సిద్ధాంతమే భారతీయులు కనుగొన్న పవిత్ర దర్శనము.
This Atman, which is complete and full, that is the philosophical truth, which is almost miraculous, which Bharatiyas discovered. This is the vision which they discovered. This sacred vision is that which they have discovered, and that's the philosophy.
అది స్వతసిద్ధముగా పరిపూర్ణమై ఉండినచో పిదపదేనికి పరిపూర్ణత సిద్ధించుట అసంభవము.
Because it is already full and complete, then it will not have to achieve completeness and fullness afterwards. That is not possible.
నడు మంత్రమున లభించిన పరిపూర్ణత నడు మంత్రముననే భ్రంశమందును.
A fullness or completeness which is attained in the middle will be lost in the middle itself.
మానవునికి అపరిశుద్ధతయే స్వాభావికమయ్యేనని 5 నిమిషాల పాటు పరిశుద్ధత లభించినను అతడు అపరిశుద్ధుడగనే ఉండవలయను.
For human beings, that they are impure, if that such a thought naturally exists, even if for 5 minutes,
If you
even if they attain purity, they will again become impure.
ఈ నడుమంత్ర పరిశుద్ధత కొట్టుకొని పోవును.
This in between or in the middle attained purity will be lost.
కావున భారతీయ తత్వజ్ఞులు అందరును పరిశుద్ధత మనకు స్వభావ సిద్ధము.
Therefore, all the philosophers and people who had attained knowledge in the Bharat, they said all of us are pure and that is their natural state.
పరిపూర్ణత మనకు స్వభావ సిద్ధము, అపరిశుద్ధము అపరిపూర్ణత కాదు అని బోధించిరి.
They taught that the completeness and fullness is our real nature and that's automatically attained by us, and impurity and incompleteness is not.
ఈ బోధనను బలపరిచి ప్రపంచమునకు చాటినిదే భారతీయ పరమార్థ వాహిని.
Strengthening this teaching or knowledge or learning and expounding it to the world is the supreme goal of Bharatiya.
తాను చేసిన మహాకార్యమును, తాను భావించిన మహాభావమును,
but the great work which one has done and the great experience one has had,
జ్ఞప్తికి తెచ్చుకోమని తన మనస్సును అవసాన కాలమున ఆదేశించిన మహర్షులు,
to bring it to memory, saying telling one's mind at avasana kalamuna ante
లాస్ట్ బ్రెత్
when one leaves the breath,
ఎండింగ్
okay, at the end of our life,
ఆదేశించిన మహర్షులు చూపిన మార్గమును జ్ఞప్తికి తెచ్చుకొనుట.
To bring to our memory the teachings of the Maharshis and the path which they have shown at the end of our life.
తన దోషములను తన అవివేకమును జ్ఞప్తికి తెచ్చుకోమని కాదు.
Not to bring to our memory our blemishes and our indiscrimination, lack of discrimination.
Foolishness చూడలామా?
Foolishness should not be brought to our memory.
అవివేక కార్యములు, దోషములు ప్రతి మానవుని యందును ఉండును.
Foolish actions and blemishes are present in every human being.
కానీ సర్వదా నీ యథార్థత్వమును జ్ఞప్తి యందు ఉంచుకొనుట ప్రధాన మననము.
But at all times to retain in our memory the reality of ourselves, that is an important memory, important recollection.
అదే నీ పురోభివృద్ధికి సోపానము.
That is the stepping ladder for one's growth and development.
That's, I think she stopped there.
So Swami is again bringing to our attention what we have to always remember and keep in our mind. Even the previous paragraph also he said, unless we keep this at all times in our memory, we will not be able to achieve something. And so he's reinforcing the same thought that, we should know that we are the Atman. Even though we may have faults and defects, we should not dwell on them, but we should rather dwell on the fact that there's Atman in us, and that's the path forward. I will stop here. If anyone would like to share any thoughts, please do so.
Brother Sai Ram,
Yes.
you know, I don't want to come to the third paragraph. Third paragraph is hard to understand. But is it okay for us to go one by one paragraph to understand, please?
Okay, sister.
Thank you, Sai Ram.
So we will go from first paragraph onwards. So Swami is addressing us as children of Bharat. And he wants us to teach our children from young age, from the time they are born. That's what Swami says in the Telugu. Puttinappudu nunchi means as soon as they are born, you should start teaching them. Is what Swami says. How do we teach them from birth? Sorry, Kalyani, go ahead.
No, Uncle, I was going to ask that. Yeah.
How do we teach our children from birth? Because Swami says, Puttinappudu nunchi. Means as soon as they are born, you should start teaching them. Sairam, brother Varadhan, please go ahead.
From beginning, right? Whenever we are doing something for the
Yeah,
children.
you have to talk a little louder, brother.
Okay, whenever we are raising the children, we always teaching as a kid something they watch it and they do it. Even like, for example, like throw the garbage in the bin, those kind of things. Children, they start to see us and they're doing at early age. So I think that's what Swami mean. Everything we teach the children, okay, what you should do, what you shouldn't. And those things are another, some of the things the children watch the parents or siblings or somebody around, and then they're following that way. So I guess that's what Swami mean. Like, you can't teach them anything after that, they wouldn't follow it. So better that as early as possible. So that's what I think. That's my understanding that Swami is teaching here. Sairam.
Thank you very much, brother. Thank you. Anyone else would like to talk about how we can teach the babies that they are Atman from the time they were born?
Sairam,
Yes, Auntie.
పుట్టినప్పటి నుంచి means as early as possible, what brother was saying. And we can be a role model depending on what Swami has said, that we are full Atma is their nature. And from that level of Atman, if we start working at home and then behaving in that manner, children will learn that lesson, parents being the role model. Saira.
Thank you very much, Auntie. Yes, brother Sai Satish.
Hi, Ramana. I think even when the child is in the womb itself, they generally say in terms of the pregnant lady to listen to scriptures, to listen to sacred things and spiritual things. So I see that even as the baby is born into the world, though at that level the baby is at the level of the body, it's an infant, but it's the soul that's been journeying life after life. So even if the mother or the father were to sing again from that point itself in terms of bhajans or of that nature, whatever is told, we know how when Abhimanyu was in the womb of Subhadra, he heard from Arjuna about the Chakravyuha and how that went in later on in the war. He could break it and go in. So I think just going with that kind of reinforcement right from the time a child is born and continuously telling, making them even as a baby, even if the lullaby is sung to it in the form of bhajans or songs, devotional, continuously reinforcing. We know how Madalasa, so much so she had that kind of a reinforcing on Atman and God was done at that age that the children became renunciants. So at the end, I think it is one heart speaking to other heart without putting too much of the mind into it to see what will the baby understand at that point. The heart is what is listening. So and more than anything, sometimes while telling those kind of stories, telling that it becomes a reminder to the parents as they are telling, and for the child at one point in time, the connection will happen. So just going on with that kind of a thing early on will reinforce at both the parent level and the child level. Saira.
Thank you very much, Sai Satish. Yes, Sister Aruna, please go ahead.
The Sairam, before me, Shivani, please. Sister Shivani.
Okay, Sister Shivani, please go ahead.
I think everybody has covered that, how the atmosphere in the house or being a role model definitely help the child to become a human being as one should be. But something I have, I think, learned maybe very late is when a child is born, making sure that we are there to provide, nurture them, but not controlling how we would like them to be. I think this is something I have learned with Swami's teaching is don't try to say, this is my child. And if we don't take, we'll say, okay, this is another Atma, another human being. How can I do my duty and create an atmosphere, create an environment to allow that person to grow and enjoy the life and realize its own self? I think that's very important as a parent to understand, rather than this is how I would like my child to be. Having that, not having that notion will definitely, I think as we are learning from this thing that we are that being, right? So we are that complete, we are the truth, we are that peace, we are that Atma. So I think we will realize, if just as a parent creating that atmosphere of treating that child as another human being and another Atma to take care of. Saira.
Thank you very much, Sister. Yes, Sister Aruna.
Hi, brother. I'm just adding to the points that was already shared, but I'm thinking myself, the knowledge or that as a little knowledge that we have, I have right now on my perspective, I would have done at the beginning a lot more. So I think the parents has to have that knowledge first, right, from the start itself. So now I think always, okay, Swami, you should have given me this knowledge beforehand, then I would have done this and this. So I think we little missed the bus kind of thing. But still trying to emphasize based on his teaching. So that is one thing. And that always, now I'm thinking also, the children are coming through us, not from us. That mentality we shall supposed to have it. So that also it's a late jnana, even little jnana. So if the parents is the one has to have the knowledge, then only they can bring the children in a proper way. Thank you, Saira.
Thank you very much, Sister. Yes, Sister Vani, please go ahead.
Sairam, brother. I just wanted to add to all the points that's already been said about the Swami also said right conduct and truth should be taught right from the young age, and the human values. So we should instill those values and also try to enforce that, it's the character is what is most important, and being in the path of truth and righteousness is what will lead to that realization later on, even if they don't have at that moment, but be able to practice righteousness and truth, they will be able to get to that point that they are at some point.
Thank you very much, Sister. Thank you. Yes, Kalyani, go ahead.
I just have a question. Is there some like a balance that you have to achieve when kids are young, or even like when they're, a young, teenager trying to choose a career and those kind of things? Like, for example, like if a child always just wants to be by himself and does not want to play with other children, we can say, okay, it's like ekantavasa, it's good, right? Like it's good for him to be independent and not rely on other people. But at the same time, if that is driven by a fear, like an anxiety of other people, then do you have to encourage them to go out and make friends and that kind of thing?
Yeah, thank you very much, Kalyan. So Kalyan has posed a question. Should we balance? Because if our children are, solitary in their effort, what are we to do? It's a question which we have to ask. Should we encourage them to mix with other children and things like that? I think that's the question Kalyan is asking. So based on what Swami has told here, how do we approach? I think each of us can have our own view how we should do. But whatever you all may share, please try to match with what Swami is telling, so relate to what Swami is saying. Please go ahead, Saira. I
Right,
will open it up.
and that was just like one example, like
No, I understand.
another couple examples I could just
Yes.
like the other one I had a question in my mind is like, say if a child is like maybe very like quiet and submissive and like other children might hit them or whatever and like they won't really stand up for themselves or talk up. You can just say, well, you're the Atman, don't be affected. like do you take that approach or do you actually tell them to be a little bit more bold and speak out and those kind of things. And then I guess the other thing is like, say somebody's a teenager and they're very complacent in a way, but then they just say, oh, I'm happy with, whatever grades I can achieve. I'm not going to work too hard. I'll be happy with whatever comes to me, in a way that's kind of good because, they're not too anxious about getting like a good job or whatever, but is that also them being mediocre or like lazy or in a way or yeah, those are some of the questions I have.
Thank you very much, Kalyani. Very good questions. I will open it up. So how do we apply this teaching of Swami in a practical way when we're faced with practical challenges, which Kalyani has given a few examples. So, if you tell the child you're Atman, would it weaken them? If you say you had to follow spirituality, will it weaken them? That, they will not succeed in this world. I think that's so they will not be able to survive in this world also. Kalyani, have I summarized what you said?
Yes.
Okay. That's what I understood. So I'm just
Yeah, it's
asking.
like I always was under the impression that like maybe you have to be like this balanced human being first. Because like if like a child is yeah, like I don't know if they be able to understand like if somebody's pushing me always or yet like I am always having to do what other people do, but like don't they first need to learn to speak up for themselves and become like balanced in that way, like on a worldly growth level first?
Okay, very good questions. So I will open it up to everyone. What do you think? How do we live? How do we put this into practice in a way which is the most balanced? Okay, so let me put it that way. Yes, Narmada, your hand is up, so please go.
Ramana, I'm not sure if I'm answering Kalyani's question, but I think I have a question on top of that.
Okay.
In a sense, I mean, those are interesting questions in the sense that, Swami is saying, and we all always say children are innocent when they are born, the world that molds them, right? Because when they are born, they are innocent and they are full. So that's what Swami is saying, as they are born full and born as with this full Atma and in a sense with this divine nature. And I think when we start from that beginning, you keep that innocence or keep that full, the knowledge that they are full and they are strong and all that confidence, right? So I guess in a sense that teaching, like how do we approach that? And then let's say, and also your surrounding is what's going to mold them, like to go to Kalyani's point that, in a school, if they are put there and if the other children are bullying them, and by nature that Atman is self, quiet, or in that sense, that how is teaching the children that you are strong, you are God, you're full, is that going to give them that confidence that nothing will affect me? And how do you build that? Or is it going to give them a little bit of, how do you say, a bit of an ego that I am strong, I can do anything? I don't know. I guess it's that balance. I'm not sure if I'm answering that question, but I'm asking that question. It's a bit difficult to provide that. And also when you're teaching, you're also bringing your perspective, your experience. So you don't know if you're actually sharing the right thing that Swami wants us to share.
Okay, thank you very much. I will, anyone else, there are only questions coming up. Any answers? How do we practically balance this? Okay, so that we don't make our life in this world miserable, or life itself suffering, being bullied by others and so on. Yes, Sai Satish, please go ahead.
Karamana, again, from a theoretical standpoint. So, so the thing is, if, like Swami himself has said this as well, if we are saying that we are really talking to them about the Atman and Brahma Vidya and fullness and totality, first of all, it takes us years to master a worldly subject, master in the sense to get at least some understanding. So with us just telling the child that you are the Atman and they grasping it, and that part, it takes, like, either the child is completely evolved at birth, or it is purely God's grace that flows incessantly, that renders the child to really accept that. Because Swami would say that you come and sit here, you listen to all my discourses, and when you get up, like how you dust your mat and then go, that is how in terms of the learnings itself we pick up. So to essence that fullness and be established in that, it is lifetimes. So my thing is, just because I tell my child that you are the Atman, first of all, I myself, I am struggling on that front to know what it is. So the child essencing that and applying it, it will come more, if it is at a level of shallow understanding, then it will obviously come with a convenient philosophy that when I don't get my marks, I will say, oh, everything is actually temporary. But then in some other area of life, I will want my toys, I will want my new bike, I will want this. Is that understanding applied in its fullness in all spheres of life will clearly say whether the child is playing it at a convenient philosophy level, or the child has deeply understood the concept that is being told. And again, there is no one shoe fits all. We know how Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, when he had to deal with Narendra, he had one set of instructions when he met with the boatman, and he had another instructions for Rakal for dealing with the same boatman. In the case of Narendra, he was short-tempered, so he had to work on bettering his calmness and staying more patient. Whereas for Rakal, he had to prep him up. Even Swami would do this, like for people who would come from management background, Swami would give them science related jobs, and when people in science related jobs, he would give management related things. So obviously in terms of the child, like first you need self confidence before even like confidence in the real higher self comes. So if the child is being meek and that kind of a thing, obviously to wherever the child is lacking, we have to put sufficient, or where we deem it as lacking, we have to just pray to Swami, Swami, this is what I think that is lacking in my child, and this is where I think I can support with this kind of input. You please take care. This is what I can do at the level of what I have as my understanding of myself and my child, and do it with that thing that it is his property. We are just guiding or having that property in store till the time he really demands of what he demands of that child. So we can give only that input, and we keep giving it with that faith that Swami is taking care, and we do it with that kind of confidence. So the child being meek, not being this thing, that part of helping the child where we feel is lacking, not from a point of getting involved into the world, but at a level where we feel that it builds um, builds their connectivity to Swami ultimately, even if it is through the world. Of course, it is very, very subjective, sister. It cannot be like a pure, again, one shoe fits all. But again, we know that spirituality is 9 feet jump and worldly point is 3 feet jump. So people means in terms of being successful in the world, success meaning not money and all of that, but really the expression of the Atman and coming out in its fullness and whatever it can achieve in the world is important in its growth of even the jump to a 9 feet. So to come back to what the whole thing is, I would say it is established in Atma Gaurav. When Swami says Atma Gauravam, and I would say it starts with a basic level of the self-confidence in the world, which builds as a reflection of self-confidence in the higher self. So, but I'll pause here, Sairam.
Thank you very much, Sai Satish. Yes, Sister Shivani.
I think my answer will tell you I didn't grow my kids well, but this is all something I learned from Swami. And
this is not a confessional, sister, but
yes, yes. Sister asked questions about if the child is not social or being bullied or content with whatever efforts the child is putting in place, and not really worried about what is happening around it. Based on my learning from Gita Vahini and something I just kind of practice and have telling my kids as well is that, see, at a bodily level, I've understood Bhagawan has given us this world so that we can enjoy this. But at the same level, we have some duties. We have a tamasic quality, sit back, be content. Everybody has a different capabilities, characters, and skills. So we have to do to our full potential. And that's what I've learned from Gita Vahini. Bhagavan asked Arjun, get up and do it. Don't sit down and sulky. Just go and do your. So I think in a nutshell, kids have to do their duty. The only thing is we have to tell kids is do, but don't worry about the result. If you see something wrong, you need to say something, but don't worry about whatever happened. You need to work hard. Don't worry about the results. And in terms of the child is not socialized, as I said before, create the atmosphere which we believe at this to be in this world. Do we need to expose them to other kids? Should we? Even if they don't, but we do our due diligence and rest, as brother has said, then leave on Bhagavan, whatever is there. But let me as a parent, or let me do my duty, what I supposed to do. And Bhagavan has their own way of grooming that Atma in whichever body that came. So in a nutshell is, do your action, don't worry about it, but you need to do the action. You need to study, you need to show the results, you need to do certain things, but the end result should not be you should be thinking about. Saira.
Thank you very much, sister. Yes, Sister Lanka, please go ahead.
Hi, Ram. I just learned from Swami's teaching, and there's a small text that I found in a book. Children must be given every facility to develop the divine talents that are in them. Parents must feel that they are servants appointed by the Lord to tend the little souls that are born in their households, as the gardener tends the trees in the garden of the master. They must arouse the latent goodness in these tiny hearts by telling stories about the saints and sages of the past. They must see that children do not develop fear and become cowards afraid of walking straight. This is from one of the Swami's, I think it's from the value parenting text. And another example was, he mentioned about the lotus, how it like flowering in the muddy water. It comes through that muddy environment and giving a beautiful flower. That's how we have to train our children. Thank you, Saira.
Thank you very much, sister. Thank you. Yes, Sister Vani.
Sairam. So I just wanted to add to, just to specifically address one of the questions Sister Kalyani posed about being in, not mingling with other children, etc. So that is also, good company. We wanted to encourage the child to be in good company. So it's not only like, it's going to reinforce the human values, all those human values will be reinforced with the other children who are in good company, like, good children or in the company of other good children. So the values that we learn will be even reinforced, it will be even stronger if they accompany with the other similar values children. And also in sometimes, our child or our children may have a lot more knowledge and a lot more values, and this also would help them to teach some of the stuff that they learned at home, and but they have, and they can help their colleagues, and then so this will encourage service mindedness. So it's not just about their thing and what will be helping that child, but it will also be able to help the others. So that kind of thinking can be reinforced. And I also want to support, add the support to Brother Satish's point about self-confidence and self-respect. Swami always encouraged people to have self-confidence and self-respect. So it is not a matter of, those should be part and parcel of anybody, I guess, some parts.
Okay, thank you, Sister Vani. Yes, Sister Aruna.
Brother Varadan wants to go ahead, brother, or else I'm just...
No, go ahead. I will go after.
Okay, Sairam, my point of view is when we are talking about to the children about Atma and all, that is parents has to keep that in mind. So how we tell the story, that they have to relate that how they have to live in the world. Not we go and teach this. Sometimes some of the, yes, we have to teach from the small age, but how we teach is the key here. Or to like, you cannot just go and say you are an Atma, then that child will say no, and that is create another episode over there. So it's a thing we have to, as a parents, we have to keep them, and we have to tell them, how to respect, how they have to see that, how they have to see themselves, that how they have to be respected. Only you can expect from others. So it's like a teaching the children in relating with the current world, and the parents only has to keep that mind, okay, how they can relate with the current world, that they are one with the other people. They are part and parcel of other people too. Then they will give the they will develop within themselves mutual understanding, mutual respect and all. That I think how we teach the child is more important. Again, it's come to the parents to give that knowledge to the child. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you, sister. Yes, Brother Varadan.
Okay, that's also like, yeah, it is a point that Kalyan brought, but that's some of the things, like I see the difference from Sai circle and outside the children. I have seen that. We're really soft, the Sai circle, but like also by the time we have to encourage them, for example, they were bullying or something, we stand up. Don't be violent to react for that, but we stand up, don't be scared and say not to do that to me or something. Or like when you go at school or something, then you don't go mute. Just go to the authority, like a teacher or principal, complain about that. Otherwise, they would be, and they have low self-esteem and those kind of things. They would face the challenges. So we let them encourage as a parent. And also, for example, the loudly teaching, and then we are the example for that. For example, that my son may be 8 years old at the time, now he's grown up. But I drove the car, he was in the back seat, and he said, Dad, that's a guy fell down from the bike. It was nighttime, or maybe it's 8 o'clock or something. So I just stopped the car and go back to me, and him went back to ask the guy. He was down, raised up, and he said, okay, I'm fine. I just fell down, I don't know why, but we make sure he right. So these are like, he watched that. And that's how we have to, whenever we are the role, like as said earlier, like we are the role model. Everything we teach it, so we have to be an example. The children watch it how, and they would be follow that one. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. Anyone else has something?
Nayana, brother, one more thing I want to add to that point.
Yes.
We have to teach the children to see always the positive side, not the negative side. Even the negative side, they have to see what they are learning from that. That kind of thing also will develop within themselves to realize their Atma. So we have to relate with how the circumstances around them to realize them. That's how I will look at it. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you very much, sister. Anyway, thanks for all the inputs. So maybe I will share some inputs, I guess. See, I think the previous paragraph, Swami talked about confidence. Confidence that the Atman is supreme. We are Atman and we should have confidence. If we have confidence in the Atman, then none of this worry, fear will come. See, and I think that's number one. Number two, I was asking also from this early childhood, what can we teach? So I was reading this, I got a few things which came to my memory from what Swami taught. See, always Swami, there are examples Swami has already told. I think Brother Sai Satish already spoke about Madalasa. Madalasa in her, the lullaby was Nityose, Buddhose, Niranjanose, like that, you are blemishless, you are permanent, you are eternal. That's what she said. And as soon as the children could walk, they walked off into the jungle. Okay, they didn't even study anything. They just walked off. And she didn't worry too much. And the husband was worried, all your children are going away. So you should stop singing such lullabies. That is one. Was she worried? Oh, they are going into the jungle, the animals will eat. They don't know how to even walk and run. They can't run faster than the tiger, which is there. She was not worried. Another example is Dhruva. Dhruva, when he was 5-6 years old, when he wanted to sit on the father's lap, his stepmother said no. So he went and asked the mother what to do. She said, I don't have any solution. You pray to Narayana. How? You have to go to the forest and do penance. He was a little boy, not even junior kindergarten. He went to the jungle. Was the mother worried, afraid? No. Even Narada Maharshi stopped and asked, you are such a little boy, all these animals are going to eat you up. He was not worried. So the thing is, see, Swami is giving something earth-shattering here, actually, which we are all not ready. See, Swami will say, what is the point in them succeeding in this world? That is not the purpose of life. So the whole problem stems from the fact that we ourselves are not very confident. See, one thing we can teach, the way you're saying, Swami is the children of immortality. So at least we can tell the children, you are a child of Swami and he will look after you. There are enough stories of, when a child was going through the jungle and he was scared, the mother tells, don't worry, your Anna is there, he will come. You just call out to him, Krishna. And that is the mother sent through the jungle. So that is the mother having the confidence in God and saying, you go. These are stories which Swami has narrated about how the child was going to the jungle and he was scared. He will call Krishna and Krishna would come and accompany him. So the thing is, ultimately, it all boils down to whether we have faith. We have faith in God. We have, whether, I think one of the questions Glenn was asking is, shouldn't they mix with others? Should we teach them to mix with others? See, the thing is, we can give our company. Our company is also a company. Others' company is also a company. If we are confident, talking about it, maybe it's something personal. My children are autistic. They don't talk to anyone. Every form of training is to get them to talk to others. Okay, but we are not so focused on the child talking to God as much as wanting the child to talk to others. So I think ultimately we should have faith. That's my view in God. We should think that we are children of God. He has been looking after. He will look after them also. That confidence we should have. And we should hand over our children to God. Actually, this is something which most parents did when Swami started primary school. Many parents didn't want to send their children to the school. Okay, but that is the extent to which we are not so confident, in handing over our children to God. That's what I know. We may not be, maybe I am also deficient, but I think Swami wants us to have that confidence. If we teach them only one thing, Swami is your mother, Swami is your father. Whenever you are in trouble, call out to him. You don't need to be worried about anything else. If the child knows this, we should not be worried about anyone in this world doing any harm to anyone. Prahlada is a great example. Even when the father tried to kill him, nothing happened to him. But what he gained was devotion to God. And I think Swami is very, very particular, because why we are reading is to understand our own faith, our own lack of confidence, our own fears. Sometimes we superimpose our fears on our children also. So we should not have worry about anything in this world. We should not be afraid of anything in this world. We should tell ourselves. I think that's what Swami wants. Swami says, as soon as that faith is dropped, our downfall starts. That I'm just reading from the previous paragraphs. Swami says, Patanam starts when we forget that. So Swami said, when we forgot only, the Bharatiyas themselves fell. So I think we should have this total faith, total confidence that come what may, we will just behave as children of Swami, and he will take care of all problems. And even if problems come, they are for our good only. And I think if we have that kind of faith, then we will be I'm not saying we are, I'm practicing this again theoretical as Sai Sathya should. We should strive for that. We should never be afraid of anything. We should not have any worry. I think yesterday only we read, how we should pray. Nischinta eva. Without any worry, we should worship God. So the thing is, that is confidence in the self. We think we have self-confidence, we ourselves lack confidence. Because we should have the confidence that the Atman is there, he will take care of everything. But the thing is, in the Western approaches, what we have, modern approaches, we want to deal with all the 100 things. We'll say when a child is bullied, this is what you do. We teach them all negative things. If somebody hits you, you had hit them back or run away from there, go and tell your teacher. These are, we can give all, you can say, just stand there and pray. Say Sai Ram, Swami will help you. But we are not sure. Maybe the child will be saying Sai Ram and the other fellow will be beating. What will happen to our child? See, when we should not have faith in the word Sai Ram also. We should say Sai Ram, and we should have the confidence that Sai Ram will protect. See, I think this is, so we should, I think, work on ourselves, as Sister Aruna said. First, we should work on ourselves. We should have all the confidence, which is what Swami is asking. So first, we should develop the confidence in God, in the Atman, and then we should pass it on to the child. That's what I learned. I hope, it's useful. Sai Ram. Yes, Sister Shivani, please go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Something I really want to share, what you said about faith and confidence. I think some of you may already know, I might have shared in the past. I don't know how much faith and confidence I had on Bhagawan that time, but my daughter was 6, 7 years old, and I always told them, Mom and Dad might not be around you, but Bhagawan will always be there for you. It's just a concept I just kind of said to them. I don't know I was really meant to say that, but I said it. And we moved in this, in this house, and from apartment, and all the houses look alike. When we moved into this house, my daughter went on a bicycle ride around the block. She was 7 years old, I guess, 6 or 7 years old. She said, I'm just going to go around the block, Mom, come back. And while I was unpacking, and she went there, she didn't return for 3 hours. And I didn't realize. When she came back, she was really kind of red and not crying, but I realized that she's returning after 3 hours. So where was she for 3 hours? 7 years old child. So what happened is, when she was on the bike ride by herself, she went into a different community. She crossed the major road and she went to the other community, and she didn't know the address either. Like, she was 7. We just moved, and she went the following day, I'm going for a ride. She said, I said to Bhagawan, Bhagawan, I lost my house, my mom and dad. Can you take me back? This is what she told me, 7 years old. Can you take me back? Because I told her, if mom and dad will not be there, only Bhagawan will be there. She said, Bhagawan, can you take me? And she said, Mom, I don't know, but Baba keep telling me, turn right, turn left. And he was keep guiding me. And then I saw Dad is washing the car. Then I knew that this is my house. She's 28 now. So whenever she forgets, I remind her that story. So today I'm just reminding what brother has said. Faith, confidence. Nobody will be around you. Connect with him and he will guide you. It's not just a concept. It happens. Sai Ram.
Thank you very much, sister. Thank you. Yes, Sister Aruna.
Sai Ram, brother, just one more thing to add to that. When, as a parent, when we develop our faith very strong and deeper, that will give us a courage, and that courage we can teach the children accordingly. So our faith has to be very strong. Then that will eventually pass to the children very nicely. That not only our children, any children you can pass that message. So always our faith is the key. Thank you, Sai Ram.
Thank you very much, sisters. Kalyani.
Thank you so much. So yeah, I understand that, a lot of that fear that we have as parents is because we fear how they will function in the world, which is maybe not necessarily so important as their relationship with God. But in a way, do we still have a responsibility to help them to be able to function in the world? Not that they have to be successful or in any other way, but just so they can function and be in this world and serve in some way. Because it's interesting in that example of Dhruva. So when Dhruva came and asked his mother that, I want to sit in my father's lap, why didn't she say, just give up that desire? Why do you desire that? You're Atma and you're full already. You don't need to sit in your father's lap. Like, why didn't she say that? Instead, she said, pray to God and go to the forest.
Okay. Was the mother?
I like Kalyani's question. That's a very nice question, Kalyani.
Anyone else would like to, was her advice to give up the desire? Why didn't she advise him to give up the desire? And why did she ask God for help? So I will pose the question. How many of you are successful in dissuading your child from their desire? If they have a very strong desire for something, has anyone had strong desire? Has any one of you been able to change it?
Good question.
Our own desires, we can't get ourselves moved. See, we desire something, it is struggle. Who can help us remove us from our own desires? So Suniti had the that wisdom that when someone wants something very badly, who can help them overcome that desire? Even that only God can do. Actually, that's what happened to Dhruva. He wanted that desire. She said, ask Narayana's help. So when he did the penance, at the end, when Narayana appeared, his desire for that had vanished. So he told Narayana, I came for something, but I don't want it anymore. I want you. And that, so that you can see that desire he overcame. It took years of penance. But then Narayana said, no, you came with the desire, so you have to enjoy a bit of that before you come to me. Okay. So the thing is, to overcome desire also, God only can do. It is impossible to reason with a child. All of you know, can you reason with your child and convince them of anything? Anything. Absolutely. You need divine help. That's what Suniti is. I think that's my understanding. I hope.
Very, very good answer, brother. Thank you so much. Very good
Yes.
question and very good answer. Thanks a lot.
Sai Satish, please go ahead.
Ramana, I was just going to say that to what you had said, right? I think it is only God who can transmute that desire of him wanting to sit on his worldly father's lap to wanting to sit on God's lap, right? It's just the same thing. He just switched it the other way from the world to the spiritual context. So I just wanted to say that I think when we go, even if it's the desire, ultimately, if it is something that channelizes one to God, then God becomes the touchstone, which will again flip the whole thing, where the desire for the world goes away and is replaced by asking for him. So just wanted to add to that, Sarah.
Thank you very much, Sai Satish. Sorry, I hope Kalyani was. It was a nice question. It made me all to think. But it is true, so sometimes for every problem, the best solution is God, Atma. Okay, so we just completed the first line. Let's go to the next line. The sanctifying vision that Bharati has secured is this: the Atma is full and free. It's a wonderful discovery, a thrilling thought. Anyone wants to discuss that? The Atma is by its very nature full. Fullness need not be attained or accomplished or added to.
Sorry, what did you say? What is Atma is full means?
It's Purnam.
Mm.
It does not lack anything.
Mm.
You don't have to give anything which it does not have. It already has everything.
So the desires we are talking about is at the body and the mind level. Mm.
Yes, sister.
So Atma, brother, it's a full because the desire, attachment, all these things related to the body, not to the Atma. That's the reason it's full. Okay, thank you, Sam.
Swami has already said Paripurna, Parishuddha. I think those were, two weeks ago. We read, I think, yes. It's Paripurna. It can fill everything, anything which is lacking. It's not only it's full, it's capable of filling filling any gap in this world.
Brother, it also says full and free.
Okay, free.
Two different meanings, though, right?
Yeah.
I think full is a part of, because we are part of a divinity is full. Free is from the desires, attachment, all kind of the full worldly attachment things. So that's how I'm looking at it. That's the full and free
So
part.
can you repeat, sister? Oh, my internet is.
Yeah. Uncle, I think you were frozen. I don't know if
Okay.
you was just saying something.
Can you repeat, sister? I missed it.
No, I mean the Atma is full because of it's a part of divine, right? That's a full, and the free means it's free from the attachment, desires, whatever. It's a worldly thing. It's free from that. Only body encounter with other things, not the Atma. Thank you, Saira.
Thank you. I don't think in the Telugu the word free is mentioned. I will ask Mani Aunty to cross check. Swami is saying
Swata Siddhamuga Paripurnama.
Swata Siddhamugam from its own self, it's inherently full. Swata Siddham means Swata Siddham. Means Swa means one, Ta means from self itself, it is attained that. Okay, on its own self, it is inherently, it is full.
Paripurna.
Yundanicho.
Pidapa diniki paripurnata siddhinchuta asambhavam. After that, Pidapa means after that, for that to complete its fullness, nothing you need be added. And it is asambhavam. It's not possible.
So the word free is not there in Telugu. So I will just leave it.
It's inherently paripurna.
Inherently.
Inherently paripurna.
So what basically it means is if the child thinks that I am Atman or I am the child of God, from that everything will come. There is nothing else need to be taught to the child. Because it's already Purnam. It will know how to act where. Because it's once you are in touch with God. That's why Swami says devotion should be instilled in children. That means the connection to God, once it is connected, from that everything will flow. Naturally, they will have everything. So we don't need to teach individually, oh, do this, don't tell lies, do truth. The child will naturally tell truth. Swasiddham, Swata Siddhamuga. So once that is connected, you don't need to teach anything else, is what Swami said. Because you have connected the child to the best source. That is what we have to teach us.
Sairam? Oh, you're so frozen, I think, Arun. Hello?
Yeah, he's frozen.
He's frozen.
Brother Sai Satish, have your hand up.
Yes, I understood. I was, yeah, maybe I can fill in till Anna is back. So I was just going to say that in the Garbhopanishad, and this I had heard from one of Brother Prem's talks. So where I think it's mentioned how at the point of birth, means when the child is to be born, at that it is aware of its inherent atmic nature. It knows that it is being given one more birth so that it can go back to realize that it is the Atman, and there is all of this that is happening is just to attain that inner self of being the Atman. But even as it is aware at the point of birth, that entire knowledge or that awareness for some reason is taken away. And so even as the child is born into this world, at that point, when it had that awareness, it has lost it. That's why it is said that the child cries, and every cry of it is koham, koham, who am I, who am I? Because at that point in time, it had an awareness, and the point of birth took it away. And so, if at that point, again, when the koham is being asked, if with whatever effort we can, whatever little effort or whatever little awareness and knowledge that we as parents have, if that koham can be answered by again putting back as you are that Shivoham, you are that God, you are that Atman. I think at that age, when it has just lost in terms of connecting back, maybe a lot more easier, though, of course, it is one's faith and belief that can have that. So when we look at the story of Madalasa and her children, when she kept telling that your Shuddhosi, Buddhosi, Niranjanosi, she kept telling that, I think it just reiterated to the child that awareness that it had lost, and it got it back. And so even as the children could walk, what Anna was saying, they could walk into being renunciants. So again, it's something of just reiterating it, and reiterating it with whatever little faith that we have at that point. Of course, we are growing in our own faith and self-confidence, but just reiterating it may in fact reinforce that completeness, and what we think as challenging could possibly become something that they can gain access to at a much earlier point in life. Sairam.
Thank you, Sai Satish. So what, as Swami can says, if once they are in touch with the fullness, there's nothing else we need to add. By knowing one, everything else will be known, because we're connected to the source of everything. That's what Swami has said. If fullness, and Swami is saying, if something in between they become full, they will lose that. You know, if we think that they're going to become full by learning all this, then they will lose. Anything which we attain in the middle, we will lose in the middle. I think that's what Swami has said. That if we think we are becoming pure, then we'll become impure after a little while. Even for 5 minutes, if that's what Swami used. If we achieve 5 minutes purity, we will lose it after soon, maybe in 5 minutes. So that's also Swami said. Anyone else would like to discuss that?
Brother Sairam, in that word, purity for 5 minutes, if you think only, right? But the next word is purity is our very nature, right? So if you think only, it will go. But you have to realize that you are pure. Purity is your nature, kind of. You have to realize, right? And so I'm looking at it. Thank you, Sairam.
Thank you, sister. Anyone else would like to share anything? So it relates to the Atman, it doesn't relate to the body. We can't say that we are clean all the time and the body being dirty. So we had to clean our body and mind. But what is impure and blemishless is the Atman. So I think that Swami wants us to clear. So Swami said this is the stream of spiritual strength that flowed from India and fertilized the world. Everywhere it Chati Chapina, this sound saying, they discovered this and they expounded it to the rest of the world, is what Swami says. So that sort of covers the 2 sections. Then we'll go to the last one, at the end of life. Okay, that's very interesting. When we are about to die, Swami is telling what all we should remember. I hope our memory is in good shape. But so how do we prepare for this? I think that's a good question, So for example, at the end of our life, if we have to think of something, remember, how do we prepare for it? Yes, Sai Satish, please go ahead.
Hi, Ramana. So, so it's like I think we discussed earlier also how every night when we go to bed, it is like taking a step into a zone of into death, and then every morning when we rise as birth. So even as we go to sleep, if we can make it a point, like that's why we have the Karacharana Kritamba prayer that we chant. So if we reinforce day in and day out at every point of thinking of Swami, thinking of the Lord, thinking of the good things, whatever can help us connect to that Swami or Atman within, it's the same thing, Abhyasa Yogena. So if we are, of course, we shouldn't restrict it only to just before going to bed. It should be throughout the day as much as possible. We keep doing that because we don't know when the Lord of Death will cast his noose. But at least from a practical standpoint, if we can start by doing it at a fixed point in time in the day, something like before going to bed, and then extend it to across, then whenever the moment of death comes, irrespective of whatever circumstance it comes up, the mind is so trained again and again, it has done the same thing over and over and over again, that it becomes muscle memory for it, that even as that event unfolds, the mind goes to the lotus feet of the Lord rather than going into a state of panic or fear or thinking about family, kith and kin, what is going to happen. Because again, this is again another point that I heard in one of the talks, that it's like how when we rip off the band-aid from any of the wounds that we have, the pain that we get, it can be millionfold the pain when the Atman is leaving the body, because the mind is so established in the body consciousness that it feels the pain to that degree, and that is where it is not able to think of anything else but the pain and anything surrounding the pain. So if you are able to practice it in our day-to-day life and constantly reinforce, ultimately that will help us prepare whenever we meet Lord Yama or however it comes in that way. Sairam.
Sairam, Sai Satish, just a quick question. In the light of what Swami has said, this is Karacharana Kritamba a good prayer?
In light of Shuddhosi Buddhosi or being in the
No,
Atman?
no, no. This chapter, Swami says they did not demand that one should bring to memory the faults and errors one committed in life.
One should bring to consciousness the great thoughts one has attained in life, the high feelings one entertained.
No, next, just read the next. This was the director. They did not demand that one should.
Yeah, one should bring the faults and errors of one committed in life.
They did not.
Yeah, that is where I was telling the Atman,
So,
recollecting
no,
that.
in light of this, just before going to sleep, should we chant Karacharana Kritambak?
Oh, okay, I get what you're saying.
It's a Kshamapana mantra. I think it covers the whole thing. Karacharana Kritamba, Kayajam Karmajam Va, Shravana Nayanam. I might have mistakes, all these mistakes. But Swami is saying something.
Exactly. So, see,
you did not bring faults and errors to.
Exactly. What Swami is saying is, this is like the papoham, papakarma, papa sambhavami, you know?
That's correct.
Swami says, don't worry, don't bring to memory all the mistakes which you did. Somebody hit me, I hit them back, all that. Oh, Swami protect. Swami says, don't even bring to memory all those things. Okay, ask for, please pardon me, but this is the traditional way of prayer.
Yeah.
Okay, which of course we are teaching all of our Bal Vikas children.
Yeah.
But because you should understand some of this Bal Vikas curriculum started before Swami wrote some of these Vahinis. Okay, but then Swami told this. That means we should not teach children to bring to memory all the mistakes you did that day. Doesn't help. Okay, so that's what I understand from this. That's why Sai Sathya was saying. So, but then Swami says, what should we bring to your consciousness?
Good
Great
thoughts,
thoughts.
great thoughts, high feelings. That's what at the end of life we should bring into our conscious only those good things, no negative thoughts at all.
Maybe we have to come up with another prayer.
Another prayer, yeah.
We should search for a good prayer and teach children to.
Anna, based on what we discussed like today morning's study circle again, in terms of like we were telling that forgive and forget and that aspect, I was just trying to say
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So the lesson is the lesson of receiving it from Swami with gratitude is retained, but not the negative connotation of it. That's where I think the difference comes in. So
Okay, sorry. Some of these things we have been doing without, that's why I said, now that we have learned from Swami, what should we think when we at least, I think there's some English prayer Swami has written, I think, when we sleep, but if anyone can remember, you can share. Kalyani, you remember?
Take my
The
time.
tasks of this day. Oh, the tasks of this day, whose burden I placed on you this morning, are over. It was you who made me act. It was you who made me walk, talk, think, and act. I therefore place all my thoughts, words, and deeds at your feet. Receive me. I'm coming back to you.
Swami wrote this in English and gave, so that, that should be our high thought. We are going to the Lord. We did it best of our ability with His guidance, and we are coming back to Him. It's very beautiful prayer. Yes, Sister Aruna.
Brother Sairam, I'm just yeah, that's a good prayer. This one, only not on the night time you think of Swami, right? Or during the daytime, anytime, anything that you do, you remember, because the death of the God is a snap, okay? So you don't know at what time it happens and what the day, right? So the God's thinking, you should have it for entire time, right? That's one thing I can understand. But I am trying to understand. I know that I said at the beginning itself, okay, we shouldn't think of faults and errors committed in life. What does that really means? Why we shouldn't? Because yes, without our knowledge we have done it, but why Swami is saying that? Why we shouldn't think like that, kind of? How we are going to then correct and move on? Or something like Swami, without my knowledge, you guide me. What I supposed to do? Don't we I don't know. Without my knowledge, I did something. So now ask for guidance.
Sister, I will turn this back to you. Should you wait till the night for you to evaluate whether you made a mistake?
No.
So then once you have determined that it's a mistake, there's no need for you to remember it again at night.
Oh, only the remembering shouldn't be there, but we have to ask for forgiveness at that time and do something about it. You correct yourself, right?
Then and there.
Then and there. You don't
So
wait.
that's why Swami said.
Wait. Okay. That is, you don't wait for the prayer to do it. Okay. That's one thing is clear.
Just the way you don't want to prepare for before sleep, you want to be ever ready to die. I will know that you are ready to die now, but
but I wanted to know where we are asking, okay? Because we just cannot do error, commit, and forget about that, right? That's it. You have to correct yourself, or you have to, the repercussions are there, so you have to aware of it and do something about it. But at the prayer time, you have to know that you have done your part now. Swami says inevitable, right? The errors, mistakes comes is inevitable. So obviously we had asked, but we don't remember when you are praying to Swami at the end of the night, like, what is the blessed day Swami has given. Now everything I have done for the day, I'm coming to you, kind of. That's okay. But okay, now I got it. Thank you, Sai.
Sometimes we want to make the mistake and hopefully we can escape. That is why Swami, don't worry about that. Swami, I kicked that person, but please forgive me. I, hit that person. He says, don't waste your time in this. Okay, that's okay. Sairam, Sister Shivani, please go ahead.
This question, Sairam, the question you ask, how at the end of our love, how we should prepare ourselves. I if not clearly, but I do remember we discussed about it, that Swami said, birth might not be in your control, but how you die is in your control, right? And we talk about desires that time strongly, that desire less, basically, otherwise it carry on to the next birth. So I think it just kind of engraved in my mind that less desire or more godly thoughts. So the more we have godly thoughts, that will stay with us. No thoughts, other thoughts except godly thoughts. So what I do is I go to him and I tell, either you fulfill my desire or you remove my desire. So it's up to you. You fulfill it or you remove it. It's up to you, but I don't want to die with any desire. So it's just some practical application.
If both don't happen, what happens, sister?
Sometimes it's worked, sometimes it doesn't. So I know that he's saying, no, you need to move on without desires, Shivani. So when he doesn't fulfill, then it's like it's not good for me. Saira.
Thank you, sister.
Sorry, Uncle. So you know the website that we're using for the SSE curriculum from India? That one does have Karacharana Kritamva. And I'm just wondering, like in the hostel and stuff, is it something that Swami has said that it should be said or to be learned? Or
see, in the hostel we have been chanting. Okay, see, I think what we should understand is there are some things which we do, and Swami generally gives an instruction. It is our duty to do what we have to from teachings he has given. Okay, there are so many things we do in our life. But I think Swami has given us the teaching also. Then he will say, I have given you the buddhi, you decide. So if you ask Mandir, no one is chanting. In the hostel, we chant because our wardens have asked us to chant, so we chant. I don't know where those wardens are today, many of them. So I will just leave it at that. Okay, there's this thing we have to continue to do aparadam, and one day we will ask for forgiveness. And that's what, so the thing is, we learn from different people, even parents, teachers, everyone teaches according to their knowledge. But then there are some things which Swami has said. So then it is our job to integrate what Swami has taught in our life, is the way I would put it. Because sometimes we practice many things like the cat in the basket before the Amavasya Puja. Okay. Because people have done it, we are also doing it without. So if we can do something better in we aligning with what Swami has taught, what we have learned. So it's so you see, now that we have learned, then we need to do something about it. Okay, when whoever is practicing, maybe they are not aware of this. They have not studied this. That's a reality. So if once we study this, then we need to know how are we going to adapt in our daily life. I think that's my point. So I will stop that. I hope it's okay. Okay, you should understand, even hostel, there are human beings only, like us. But what Swami has said is your practice and what you learn should be reconciled with the Shastras. Samadhanam. Only then it is true. Okay, so the way I would put it, if people have told us to do this and then Swami has told this, then how do we reconcile this and what do we follow? And I think that's a choice which we have, and that's the way I would put it. Okay. So it's 4:30. I hope, I don't know, the discussion so hopefully beneficial for all of us. We will continue next week. We will close the session today. So it's Samastaloka prayer.
Sorry. I want to make one announcement in
Okay,
regards
sister.
to
Sorry.
retreat, please. Sai Ram, we have planned a retreat to celebrate Swami's 100th birthday. So that is happening in London, Ontario. It's on May 9th, Friday, 6 p.m. to Sunday, May 11th, 2:30 p.m. The registrations links are still open. We encourage all the devotees to join for this celebration. Thank you, Saira.
Sairam, sister. Sairam. Will be chanting the Karacharna Kritam Vadhyar, sister?
Am I allowed to join?
Yes, sister, you can join. The registration link, I have shared it via WhatsApp messages. You can see that the registration link is there. You can join.
Okay, Sai.
Thank you, Saira, sister.
I think, sister, we have to decide what prayer everyone will chant at night before going to sleep.
Anna, that depends on who is the warden.
Swami. Swami is the warden. Okay, the warden has given the instruction. Okay, we'll close with Samastaloka side. Om Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.